Hi, I'm Karen from Perfect Day by Karen, and I just thought I'd jump on and kind of give you some tips, and we'll start with this video and just see how it goes. So my first video is kind of the things people forget, which I think is a tip that most people need because that's why people forget them. My first thing is obviously that there's so many little things to think about, and when you're kind of planning everything all by yourself, because you're doing a DIY wedding, then it's just some little pointers to kind of keep you in the right direction. Obviously I'd recommend getting a planner, but that's because I'm a planner. So what I would recommend is always remember your cake table. You spend loads of money on a wedding cake. I don't know why, but wedding cakes are obviously so much more expensive than any other cake that you ever will buy in your life. So make sure that with the wedding cake, don't just forget about what's going on around it. Obviously you can have a beautiful cake and then it just gets plunked on a table or to the side. So think about where you're locating it and also about kind of what that table is going to look like. So it can either be on a barrel, for example, if you're having a rustic wedding, or maybe it's on a table. But if it is on a table, don't forget your linens, so tablecloths, and don't forget to add some flowers to the table maybe, or even just some little sparkles, or just anything just to make that table a bit more interesting. And then just your cake, but you also don't want it to be too interesting that it takes everything away from the cake. But definitely make sure that you've put some thought into where your cake is going and how it's going to look in situ. Not only when you're thinking about where it's going to go, make sure that you're thinking about how far you need to walk to be able to cut it, and obviously when you're going to cut it, is it in a good location for that? So that's one thing to think about. The other thing that people often forget is obviously the cake knife that goes with the cake. So it's all cake related things that people seem to forget, is kind of the cake knife. Suddenly it's a scrabble just to get the knife together to be able to cut the cake, which then tends to not be something very pretty. And it's always nice for the photo shots to look good with a good knife rather than just kind of something someone pulled together. The next thing I wanted to talk about, which people often forget, is the ceremony music. So they're so busy thinking about what entertainment they're going to have at the end of the evening and what entertainment they're going to have in the first dance song, even the entertainment that they're going to have at the drinks reception, but often they forget about the ceremony, and kind of if they're not going to have a live entertainment at the ceremony, they often forget that they actually need a song for entry and also for exiting, and also just some music to keep the guests entertained while they're waiting for the wedding to either begin or just while you're kind of doing some bits in the middle. So it's definitely something to think about, and also how that music's going to be played and who's going to press play, especially if you're using a speaker rather than having live entertainment. So they're just some little pointers about where you need to be thinking when you're thinking about ceremony music. You can literally use anything, especially if it's a civil ceremony. It doesn't have to be the accordion in the church. It can literally be any song that you choose. So yeah, surprise your guests with something different. Oh, the guest book. So the guest book is another one that's really often forgotten. I don't know if nowadays it's because people just don't keep it. They've got their photos that they keep for the kind of to look back on rather than a guest book itself. Some people use different items, for example, large champagne bottles, that they obviously something sentimental to them and personal to them. But if you are using a guest book or wanting something to remember the day by, whether that's puzzle pieces or literally anything that you're wanting to keep, just make sure you have it for starters, and then also the pens and the things you need to be able to actually use the item to be able to sign it for you or kind of take those pictures or whatever it is that you're doing to make a guest book. So they're just three of the things that people often forget. They seem like simple things, but they're kind of the things people don't always think about in detail. And there's plenty of more things that I will obviously mention in the future. I'd really love to hear what you would like to know and what tips and tricks you'd like to hear about, or advice, or if you have any questions, or I'm more than happy to kind of help you out or make a video about it. So please either leave a comment below or message me directly and I'll happily help you out. Thank you. See you soon. Bye.